Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 5, I believe it is, of the Jank podcast. Today you've got Ryan and Josh as usual.
Hi, everybody. It's me again. Yeah, we're actually doing this again. We're gonna try to make this more regular, so cross our fingers
Yeah.
cross our fingers that we're able to actually make that a thing that we're supposed to do.
So don't hate us.
Don't hate us. Don't hate us because you ain't us, right?
I mean, no one would want to be me, so.
I mean, your daughter's cute.
Yeah, but that's about all I got going for me. I can't get out of gold on Arena.
I got to Mythic last season, which is like awesome. Like, I can't believe I got there.
You did it because of Curtis.
Curtis kept pushing me. That's kind of what happened.
Yeah, you did it because of Curtis.
Curtis
and I work together. I just win matches and then get stuck in gold.
Curtis was like, play mono red, play mono red, play mono red. And I'm just like, I find this deck miserable to play. It's not the type of style of deck I enjoy. I'm not a good aggro player. He's like, dude, you made 3 mistakes there. And I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing playing an aggro deck.
So, my trick with Curtis was I'd ask him what type of deck is good in the format at the moment.
And he'd tell you.
And that's all I'd ask him for. He would tell me what decks would be good. And whatever I had, I'd play that for that week.
Yeah. So anyway, should we get on to our topics this week?
Yeah. Because they're going to be so fun.
Oh, we have quite a bit to talk about. We want to kind of cover over 2 topics today. First topic, just going over. It's been a little while since we did a checkup on the formats, so we're going to do a bit of a checkup on the formats.
Even though our last episode is the same thing, but still.
It's been. The last time we recorded was right after Faithless Looting got banned.
And I wanted to cry.
Oh, things have changed quite a bit since then. So
Spoiler alert, don't play Modern.
Modern's a bit of a shit show, but
but some people actually really like it right now, which is funny.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack about Modern, so we'll definitely get there.
So what do we want to start with from that, and we can move to the second topic after.
Yeah, and then we want to talk about going into formats. We're going to talk about Historic, the possibility of, Historic's supposed to be starting soon. I know you can play Historic by direct.
Format is lit.
By you can play Historic by direct challenge. I believe that's all you can do right now is by direct challenge.
You can casual play it too. If you go to a casual game on Arena, you get it that way too.
Yeah, but there's no like dedicated queue or ranked like they said that there's going to be. But apparently that's coming in November. So we'll see about that.
It's coming in November. I know kind of like the broad strokes. It's like it's coming in November. You'll have it for a week, and or something like that, and it'll count towards your constructed ranking.
Anyway, let's dodge that particular bullet for the moment and focus on the formats that are here right now. First, let's talk about Standard. How is Standard looking, Ryan?
Zombies.
We'll just plaster a picture of the Last of Us cover on the cover of this podcast, and like,
sure.
or just The Walking Dead. We'll just
not wrong.
We'll just plaster a Walking Dead poster on it. That's literally just Modern. That's literally just Standard right now.
Can I give you an unpopular opinion, probably to most people?
Of course. What's your unpopular opinion?
I like Standard right now. I think it's real good. I get why people are upset. I think it's good.
So let's explain first, like, what's going on with the zombie apocalypse, and then we'll move on from there. Talk about some other archetypes and some news
the best deck in the format.
We'll first talk about the best deck in the format, and then we'll move on.
Excuse me, we are not going to talk about the best deck in the format first.
What are we going to talk about first?
Well, we're talking about ban Golos first, or just Golos first. But that's not the best deck in the format. The deck sucks.
I mean, fine. That's the de facto, like, that's what
everyone thinks the best deck is.
Fine,
but
that's
sneaker tech right here.
That's the quote unquote deck to beat right now, and it's been the deck to beat since Eldraine came out. Everyone was actually pre-release of Throne of Eldraine. Everyone was worried about another boogeyman in this format, which hasn't been a boogeyman yet, which is insane.
Which was
Oko.
Yeah, well, early on in that format, Oko was a terror.
Oko was Broko for week 0.
I mean, he is still a Broco. Bro!
But everyone was like, how do we go over the top of Oko? Oh, let's just play Bangolos. But yeah, what you said you wanted to talk about the deck first, so let's do that.
I mean, we can talk about Golos. That's the. I was agreeing with you. I was making a joke that I am saying it's not the best deck in the format.
Yeah,
However, that's
yeah,
what we're going to talk about first.
it's you know, the format is kind of iffy when we can consider there is a level 0 deck and there is like a million iterations of this level 0 deck, and that's what's going on with the Golos piles right now.
Yeah, I personally like the Sultai ones, even though they're not as common right now. I think they're really good.
I mean, it's really good. Like, when there's zombies on both sides of the field, making zombies faster and more zombies, it seems better. And when you have Yarok on the field, you're making two for every land drop when your opponent's only making one.
But see, I like it for a different reason than Yarok. Like I built my own list that didn't even play Yarok.
What do you say? Assassin's Trophy is a good reason.
Garrick, because Garrick breaks the mirror for you. Like in the sense of all you have to do is literally just go, oh, alt, because you're going to be in a board stall. If you swing your wolves in, they're probably going to take. But if you ever find a way to sweep away the wolves or something, you know what I mean? Like find a way to kill a wolf, your Garrick ultimates, and the game is going to be over. You have bigger zombies than your opponent, and they all have trample.
I mean, I've been playing a Gates version of Golos for like the last like couple weeks, but
for the last standard season, you mean?
last standard last standard season, I was on Golos Gates shift for a while. Like I was literally just playing a completely fair Field of the Dead pile with one copy of Escape Shift to combo kill people. And like I just ported that over, took out Scape Shift, added Teferi, and like I made it back to I made it black to platinum with it, and then have proceeded to get raffle stomped by everybody beating who's focusing on trying to beat Golos decks, and Gates has a harder time trying to beat what beats Golos than Golos does.
I mean, because it's not the best deck.
My land's coming to play tapped, Ryan.
Exactly.
That's all the reason why
I've been playing Gates decks on Arena, and like, yes, I agree.
All right, so we're gonna go. So that's like tier 0, even though people have found their ways to beat it. You know, there's going over the top of it with other Golos decks. Like we've seen Golos Fires be a thing, which is literally just the same thing with also Fires of Invention and ways to break Fires of Invention, including 4 copies of Fae of Wishes for an insane wish board.
Excuse me, sorry.
So we don't have to talk too much about wish boards because you know wish boards are like an established.
Never were in standard.
They're an established thing in Magic. Like, people know what wish boards are.
Yeah.
So we don't have to go too insane on that one. Anyway, what would you say is, like, the next level? Like, the tier, like, so after Golos...
Like how to beat Golos?
Like, so, let's talk about, like, how to beat Golos. Like I'd say let's talk about what's quote unquote what's on tier 1.5, and then we can talk about which of those decks beat on Golos.
Do you want a super opinion here?
Sir.
It would be my good old standby.
Your good old standby. What you cut off a bit.
Mono black aggro.
Yeah, I think mono black aggro has the tools. Like.
It does very powerful things that I don't think a lot of decks in the formats can deal with right now.
I mean, like, here's the problem. Like, we've talked about this, like, privately, but the problem with like everybody else is everybody's trying to go bigger, and when we'll talk about a deck that has 3 mana sweepers later on. but most decks, their sweepers at 5 mana, and with not much spot removal, there's really not a dedicated old Esper control style deck like there was the Teferi Narset deck of last season. That deck just doesn't exist right now to beat up on these aggro decks. But so everyone's expecting a sweeper on 5. Your stuff's gonna live and stick around and do some damage right now.
And the fact that Mono Black gets a 4/4 on turn 3 90% of the time. Because Spawn of Mayhem is not a balanced Magic card.
Spawn of Mayhem's a 3-drop, not a 4-drop.
Correct. It's not a balanced Magic card.
When you're doing your job, it's a 3-drop.
Right. And I'll mulligan every hand in that deck that does not have one. I don't care if it's wrong. I do it. I think it's wrong. Correct.
Some people are playing Yorock's Fenlurker as a way for their 2-drop to be a bit of disruption.
That just seems bad to me, and I won't lie about it. I hear that, and I'm like, that...
So what's your tech right now?
My tech, per se, I don't really think I even have any special tech. Sorry, I have one piece of sideboard tech for, the board stall matchups that randomly come up. And that's, I'm currently playing Sir Conrad the Grim.
Sir Conrad seems good.
So if you're in a really long game board stall-y matchup, he's gonna do it. It doesn't matter what your opponent does. If you get in a giant board stall and you play Sir Conrad, if they can't kill him before you move to combat the next turn, or the same turn, they're gonna die.
Yeah, it seems like they will. It just seems like that they will die, yeah.
Because, you can make a bunch of trades, and it doesn't matter. You're oh, trade, you take 10?
Yeah, because it triggers on... So Sir Conrad deals a point to your opponents when anything gets put in the graveyard on any side, right? Or is it just yours?
Any creature goes to the graveyard from anywhere.
Yeah, that's nuts. Yeah, well, I was more trying to talk about your more aristocracy version.
Oh, see, personal opinion, as much as I like that deck, I don't think it's as good as the Fallen Aggro list.
You don't think
both.
You don't think putting a cat in the oven's worth it, Ryan?
So here's the problem, right? You can put the cat in the oven all you want. At the end of the day, you're just dealing 1 damage a turn unless you have Iara. But in the black version, by the time you assemble that combo, in the mono black aggro, your opponent's dead. You didn't even give them a chance to live. They're dead.
Yeah, I get that. So, you're just saying it's better to just murder them in a deck that's trying to be lower to the ground. You're kind of playing a different deck if you're trying to put the cat in the oven?
Correct. I also think that, if you're trying to do the whole aristocrats thing, that's fine, but you should be hopefully in a grindier meta. Because I don't think there's a reason to be doing that in a Golos meta.
Let me just say this: Mayhem Devil's fucked.
Yeah, 100%.
Mayhem Devil is insane.
Yeah, 100%. Not disagreeing with you.
So you know what's the great part about Mayhem Devil?
It's whenever a player sacrifices a permanent.
Fabled Passage.
Yeah.
Fabled Passage just gives me some if I Fabled Passage just as a person who has faced I wouldn't say red black aristocrats is tier 1 or even tier 2 right now, because this is what you said, we're
I will say it's still very good.
Grindy games are not what you need right now. You need to be doing something powerful or killing your opponent. You can only do one of those two things right now. And I feel doing anything else is bad news. But anything the deck I want to talk about is the other Fires of Invention deck that seems really good. Is the is the currently it seems a bit skewed between two different versions right now online, but I've seen the only one I've seen personally uh, is um is the Planeswalker version of Jeskai Fire's invention.
Which one do you think is better?
I honestly, I've seen the Planeswalker version in action before, and I don't see how a bunch of creatures that die to board wipes are better than that.
I've seen both versions, and again, personal opinion, because I like that word. I think the other one's better with the idiots,
I
with the
just
Cavaliers.
There's a specific reason why I think the Planeswalker version's better, and you can disagree with me all you want. I feel like Planeswalkers are harder to deal with right now.
I mean, they are.
I mean, yeah, they're just like harder to deal with. So like, if you're not like trading a Planeswalker every turn, which the Planeswalker deck has a lot of ways to prevent that. Like some are playing like our friend Zach, friend of the show, is playing Dove.
Friend of the show, friend of a former site.
Yeah, yeah, um, is is playing Dovin. He's playing Casmina, which I think a copy to a Casmina is like really good. He's playing a copy of the Wanderer in his sideboard. You know, he has ways to make sure that that trade's not happening.
I mean, real talk. We also can say Zach is not always correct with his dumb decisions. But, you know, there are decisions that he makes.
I mean, the Wanderer makes a lot of sense. I mean, at least the Dovin makes a lot of sense. I'd say the Wanderer in the sideboard is probably the correct place for it if you're going to play it. The one thing I don't agree with him about is he's not being greedy with his sideboard with Fires of Invention at all, and I feel like that's a mistake in a meta like Golos. Like specific, like if we weren't in a Golos meta, I feel like that opinion has merit. But if you're playing Fires of Invention with 4 copies of Fey of Wishes to wish cards out of your sideboard,
it also speaks to the kind of player that Zach is, though.
Yeah, he's not a greedy player, yeah, but I feel you like that speaks to what I was saying before. Like you have to be doing a powerful thing, and like omnisciencing like almost getting an omniscience on the battlefield for like you can play 2 spells every turn, as early as turn 4 is nuts, and you want to play the most powerful spells, and the most powerful spells are in all the colors.
Hate to toot my own horn, but I think I'm like the greediest player we know.
You're probably the greediest player in our little play group right now, I agree.
I mean, it's between myself and Tom. Because Tom and I don't have fear.
Tom's just like...
We look at a deck and go, how can we make it greedier?
Tom's like, this is fun, I'm doing it. Like, that's just his... And if you ask him why, he'll be like, cuz. You actually are like, oh, I think it's good because of this, and that. And Tom would just be like, it's good cuz.
I mean, like, I'm also just a player who, like, looks at the deck and goes, I think this card is good, I'm gonna play this card.
Yeah. No, like, I don't think that's
just my MO.
I don't think that's a bad way to go about it. But, before we spend too much longer on Standard, because we have a couple other formats to deal with today, is there any other decks you want to speak about?
Not exactly. Like, I think Standard's just in a good spot. I don't know how else to say it. Like, I do. I just think it's in a good place.
Alright, we're not going to talk too much about this because the BNR is coming out next week. We were thinking about talking about this today, but, seeing as there's a BNR announcement...
real briefly on the BNR, though, I'm 50-50 on if anything should be banned in Standard.
Yeah,
because, as I said, I think it's in a good place. I don't think it needs to be done.
The reason, like, I feel like a lot of people feel like it's pushing out mid-range, and, like, the fact that...
I guess.
The fact that Wizards emergency announced an update makes me feel like something's getting done.
Oh, yeah, something's probably getting done, but...
So, the thing that I wanted to ask you about specifically, before we move on to Modern, and we can actually use this as a segue into Modern, what do you feel about Field of the Dead just being restricted rather than being banned?
They would not do that.
But I'm saying hypothetically, just hypothetically,
I would rather they didn't do that, and I also know they wouldn't. To elaborate on that, as someone who's played formats where cards are restricted, i.e. Vintage, the only one where they actually restrict cards, it makes it harder for newer players. And that's the reason why I don't think they would ever restrict something in Standard. Because then you'd have new players who would just be like, I think this card's really powerful and sweet. I'm going to shove it as a 4 of, and then they go to their FNF get a DQ because they're playing a 4 of a restricted card.
So you feel like it's either a full ban or nothing at all?
Correct. I think, and again, as I said, I don't think that it needs to be banned. I think it's powerful, yes. I think it's pushing at mid-range, but mid-range can adapt. That's the point of a mid-range deck.
Yeah.
And if they're not adapting, then they're clearly not trying hard enough. Like,
Oh.
that's just the truth. Like,
So, I mean, they have ways around it, like questing beasts and stuff, but we'll see. I don't want to spend too much time on this because, again, next week the actual announcement's going to happen, and we'll be able to discuss how we feel about this in depth when that does happen.
yeah.
So, let's go on to Modern, where there's currently another busted thing going on in Modern. Weird, it's like the format does that.
It's like the format itself is just not healthy and boring as crap.
I mean, I don't think it's like boring as crap. I think like
Did I mention I hate Modern?
I part of me just thinks you're salty because Dredge got banned, but
No, I've hated Modern since before, like, even when Dredge was legal. I only played Modern because it was my favorite. Beyond that, I have always hated Modern. I don't think the format's that fun. If I had to pick a Magic format to never play again, I would pick Modern. And, like, that's not even a hesitation. I would pick Modern.
is it just because the format's punishing, or just you think the power level's too high?
I'm the kind of player that enjoys a little bit of interaction. Fast deck, I like to know that there's a way for me to be stopped.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, with all the quick, fast, linear decks in Modern, there is none of that. Like, I can play Burn, and 90% of the time I'm just going to win because I'm playing Burn. Or I can play Titan Shift, and my opponent's just going to die because I just on turn 3. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just too roll the die, flip a coin. It's just, ugh.
Sideboard cards.
Right? Why can't we just play like I'm not trying to say like why can't Standard, but like Standard's a good example of a format that like I think is relatively healthy, even with like boogeyman like Golos. It's healthy.
I think if Veil of Summer didn't exist, really, like having Golas be the boogeyman wouldn't be too bad because like the interaction pieces. Well, also I feel bad that cards like the Fall of the Thran, like Blood Sun and Alpine Moon are not in the format anymore. Really, like they need to do something about that. Like if they decide to do something about that, I could understand not banning it, but like there needs to be a solid hate piece.
On the flip side of the coin, though, you could make Modern more like Legacy, where there are allowed to be some fast interactive things, but linear things, but it still isn't all that. Like, you know, there's a lot of interaction. There's fair things going on. Believe it or not, Legacy is the most fair format of Magic.
I mean, to be fair, Legacy has its own 5 mana safety valve that prevents like crazy combos exist in Legacy and they just get pushed out by force of will.
But the fact that Legacy is as fair as it is with things like Force of Will in the format, that should say something. And I'm not trying to say that Force of Will is not good or anything like that, because it definitely is. But like, Legacy is as broken as it is, and it's still considered to be the most fair format of Magic. That has to say something.
So is your plan to fix Modern replay Force of Will?
No, my plan to fix Modern is not play it. Unless I'm playing Dragonstorm, because that seems dope.
Fair.
That's the thing is, like, I'm not saying that, like, as I'm not someone who like actually wants to play fair decks. I'm fine with playing unfair decks. I played Dredge for God's sakes.
Yeah.
But like,
that's
the
like
idea of the entire format, like Hogak. Hogak actually was a good format of Modern, I think. And I know that's some wild knowledge right there. I would rather play the format where Hogak is the deck than where the best deck is Paradoxical Urza.
Some people would say the best deck in the Modern right now is Burn.
I really hope you're not that person trying to say that.
I mean, I'm not. I haven't really played a bunch of Modern recently. I probably believe Paradoxical Outcome is probably still the best thing to do in the format. It's like it's just there's too many decks to go on a deck by deck basis like we do with standard. So like we're just gonna talk in generalities here. But
I'm just gonna like pull up the modern metagame for 2 seconds.
I mean, right now Burns on the number one on Goldfish. So like, but taking.
I mean, I don't think that means a ton.
Yeah,
And I'm not trying to diss Burn. But like, modern is in a weird place where like, friggin' Gifts Storm won the last Open.
yeah, and it was sweet. In game 2 of the finals, the guy who won went off. He had like maybe like a 45% chance of fizzling. His opponent just had a Simic Growth Chamber in play and just went for it on turn 4.
And Dredge actually top 8 that same tournament.
Yeah, Dredge did, which I'm surprised that Dredge is still living.
I'm not. I completely understand why it's still living, and there's a chance I give it a shot. Like, I'm just not feeling it. I don't think it's as good as it once was, which it obviously isn't.
Part of the problem is that Grave Hate's non-existent.
Right. And after Storm wins the Open like that, it probably isn't the existent. And all the Thalia players are going to start sleeving up their Thalia.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like, that Storm pilot, he had the easiest top 8 he probably could have had.
Yeah. The most non-interactive top 8 in the world.
His top 8 was Dredge, Amulet Titan, Amulet Titan.
That's... wow.
Like, is he losing...
It's like Amulet Titan can't play Damping Sphere because it'll kill them too.
Is he losing? Is a Storm pilot? Is a good Storm pilot losing at either of those matchups? Like ever?
No. Actually, did you say Dredge? Because fun fact, Dredge is a 50-50 matchup for Storm.
I mean, he just went off on turn 3 and then on turn 4.
Yeah, I said it's 50-50. Dredge needs to hit their Grave Hate. Like, I've won that matchup because my Grave Hate was Ravenous Trap, and I waited for my opponent to start going off. Then they casted a Past in Flames. They casted a Gifts on my end step. I binned all their mana, and then just Ravenous Trapped them on my end step.
I believe in game 2 he didn't even use his mana. I'd have to relook at the top 8. Hold on, just one second. Because I believe his quarterfinals was Dredge. Let me just I just want to double check on that.
But do you actually want to move on towards Legacy just to keep it rolling along?
Yeah, we can keep it rolling.
Legacy's another weird one. Like a weird one to talk about because there's a boogeyman.
Yeah.
But like, the format's actually really healthy. As someone who has played a lot of Legacy recently, it's actually pretty healthy.
God, I am not sure about how I feel about Ren and 6 on the format.
I am split. I always think that people are punishing them is very fine. And I usually would be the guy to be punishing them, and I'm not this time. I've been playing Maverick and Blue-White Helm, which is not getting punished by it.
Yeah, you're literally just playing Blue-White Control with a combo finish, and
and that's completely my style if I play Control.
I mean, with two mana enchantments that lock out most decks in game 1. Like, I think like White Weenie can't deal with it. I think Dredge can't deal with it game 1. I think Goblins or Burn can't deal with it game 1.
I don't even think Goblins and
I think Goblins can deal with it post board, but they have a problem with enchantments, don't they?
The only thing they can deal with is Pyroblast or Red Blast, and like that still,
yeah,
it's not very comforting.
And it's just energy field that they can deal with, and you get blue, and you probably have a couple blue blasts too.
I don't even remember.
I'm just saying you have your tools to like stop their 1 to 2 pieces that can actually do something about that.
Excuse me. But overall with Legacy, I actually think it's in a very healthy.
Yeah, I feel like I would have to play more Legacy. My recent experience with Legacy has just been playing Burn, and which resulted in my last Legacy play was like a month ago. I played to a
I feel
two.
like you would play this deck, but I don't know if you'd play it without. Uh,
What
sorry,
the
I found a deck that I'm thinking about you with, but like it plays a lot of duels. But I feel like you would try it with shocks because it's just who you are, and it would let you play your favorite card again.
what card?
Well, don't you want your Turbo Pigeon back?
I kind of want my Turbo Pigeon back, but like I don't know how I feel about. I miss my Turbo Pigeon.
I think this deck is actually really sick, and like it does a thing.
It's four colors. Yeah, this is the problem. It's four colors. Yeah, this is Grixis Phoenix, right?
Yeah. The only green is to be able to grab an island off of land grant or a swamp. To which, if you go land grant, Dark Writ, Buried Alive, get 3 Phoenixes back, swing for 9, go.
Yeah, that's just good enough sometimes.
Yeah, but I don't know. Legacy is in a weird place where it's like people would complain about Ren and 6, but at the same time, it's keeping the format very fair. And as stated before, I enjoy some fair formats with some unfair stuff in it, which is not what Modern is. Hence why I don't like Modern.
Yeah.
But Legacy is actually very fun right now, and I'm looking forward. I'm playing a Legacy event on the 27th or 26th, and I'm very excited for it.
I wish I could play that event because I'd be asking Tyler to play Maverick most likely.
I'm not even sure if I'm playing Helm or if I'm playing Maverick in it. I should be playing Helm.
I mean, I just play the deck you feel most comfortable with.
I mean, that's Maverick, but at the same time, I feel like Helm's better.
Yeah.
But Maverick is just a good deck, and it has like a turbo.
I've been eyeing Bugalarin like hard, but like I'm almost finished with Death Shadow, so I feel like I should finish that.
But so do you want to just like go to the other topic, or do you have anything else you want to say about all this?
I mean, I don't really feel like we're gonna have much to say about the last one about well the oldest of formats, but like I feel like we might have stuff to say about Pauper.
I have nothing. I don't play Pauper that much anymore.
I mean, can we just go to Pauper for 2 seconds because this is literally my stance on Pauper.
Go to Pauper for 2 seconds.
Ban Astrolabe, and like thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Let's ban Astrolabe.
I mean, I feel like it should be banned. Like it just makes the mana too good for free.
I mean, you could say the same thing about Modern, but you know.
I mean, you could say the same thing about Legacy, honestly. Like, I feel like it's more of a problem in Pauper than it is in any other format.
I might play Legacy, honestly.
What, Astrolabe?
Yeah, I might put it in Blue-White Helm.
Just so you can play Prismatic Vistas and...
I already am playing Prismatic Vistas. But...
I mean, you don't play any non-basics, do you? You basically, like, you play a...
I play 3 shocks, because I just don't own duels.
Yeah, I mean, if you play Hollow Fountain, I mean, if you play Flooded Strands and Prismatic Vistas and maybe a couple other blue fletches, you basically don't even need duels at all.
Yeah.
You can play main deck back to basics.
But are you done with your rant about Pauper?
Yeah, I said my rant about Pauper was ban Astrolabe.
Okay, because I have some stuff I want to say about the last topic before we end us off.
Vintage?
No, historic.
Oh, okay. So, all right.
It's
so
the last topic. I don't mess with vintage anymore.
All right. So we're gonna just skip vintage because who plays
Battlecard?
who plays a format that costs the amount of a car?
More than a car.
More than a car. All right. Anyway, yeah. All right. So the other topic that we had today was historic is being formally supported by Wizards on Magic Arena starting in November. I feel with you said its own ranked queue that affects your affects your constructed rank. Yeah. The only thing I don't like about that is it's only for a limited time. I feel like there should be a historic.
So I think they're going to be doing it more often. I think that's just their test run to see if people like it.
Yeah.
I believe that's exactly at least what I heard from Hoagland.
Yeah.
That's what he said. Oh.
Okay. So in historic, what the only worry that I have about historic going in is I'm concerned that it's a combo heavy meta.
It's definitely going to be, and like, I'm gonna sound really hypocritical, contrasting to what I actually like it for this format. Because if you ask me, Kethis combo was way too good for standard. I don't think it should have been in standard. But I think in this new format, Kethis combo is perfect for it, as well as Scape Shift.
I mean,
and Curtis and I actually tested that matchup, and like, he got destroyed by Kethis combo.
I mean, so Kethis combo, like, Kethis combo is such a funny instance because it's such a weird thing. Because like, I feel like before this never would have happened, but like because it came out in a core set, and because it was only out for 3 months, like Kethis combo was put in this weird position that this deck is only going to exist for 3 months because Mox Amber and whatever the card is, the excavator or whatever it is.
Yeah, Diligent Excavator.
Diligent Excavator.
For those who don't know, whenever you cast a historic spell, target player puts the top 2 cards of their library into their...
Yeah, because those cards only existed together with Kethis for 3 months in Standard, and it was a time that basically nobody cared about Standard if you weren't playing Arena.
Yeah.
Because everyone was pissed off about Hogak and trying to figure out about Faithless Looting and like post Faithless Looting and us getting Stoneforge Mystic back, that no one cared. Like it,
yeah.
Like it's just it's just like such a weird spot. Like it was de facto the best deck in the format, and there's no shaking that.
And no one was playing it.
And no one was playing it because A, it was complicated. B, why buy a deck that's going to rotate?
And like I played it in standard in like its brief period, and I thought it was very good. So when I was trying out historic the other day with our friend Curtis, he was playing Dance Scape Shift because he was telling me how good that is in the format. And I said, "Okay, let me try this." And I just literally took Kethis from standard, cut 4 cards, and added 4 Emery Lurker of the Law. Guess what? Still broken.
I mean, people are doing that in Modern with 2 Moxes.
Right, but that one's a little bit different. Grinding Station makes that deck a whole lot different.
Yeah, I know. I'm not saying like Kethis combo. Like that's how people are making Jeskai Ascendancy Warsa combo work, too.
Yeah, I saw.
It's insane. Like they just have 8 Mox. Yeah. Freeman is dumb.
But I mean, that's about all I really have to say about historic.
Yeah, like that. Like I don't. Does the do you feel like the only thing I'm concerned about, does the format have the tools to like bring itself back from a combo heavy meta?
Yeah, I think so.
Cause let's say Kethis is the go-to combo deck in the format. How do we beat it?
But
like how...
I think that's about all I really have to say for this week.
Yeah, like that's just my concern about how we beat it. But like, I assume like once
time will tell.
Yeah, once historic actually goes around, if Kethis is breaking the format, I'm sure Wizards is not going to stay silent.
Yeah, but I hope everyone enjoyed this episode of the From Jank to Jank podcast. I actually have to run. So, yeah, we'll see you all next time.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have a BNR to talk about, but we'll see. Have a good one, guys.
Sorry, Josh.